Whenever we see headlines about terrorism, our minds, of course, go straight to the human tragedy, and that's absolutely right. But there's another story that unfolds long after the cameras leave, an economic story. So today, we're going to peel back those layers and really explore the true, far-reaching cost of terrorism on the world of business.
And this is really the big question we're going to unpack, isn't it? What is that true cost? Because it's so much more than just the immediate, visible damage you see on the news. We're talking about a complex chain reaction, a ripple effect of costs, fears, and strategic shifts that can literally reshape entire industries, even entire economies.
All right, so let's start at ground zero, the initial shock. This is that first brutal impact, the shockwave that hits businesses right away, at the very epicenter of an event.
Now, from a business perspective, what's so critical about this definition is the direct conflict it highlights. What does business need more than anything to thrive? Predictability. Stability. Terrorism by its very nature is designed to inject the exact opposite, fear and chaos, into the system. It fundamentally poisons the well, undermining the very ground that commerce is built on.
And boom, here are the immediate tangible consequences. We're talking about the physical stuff, damaged offices, factories, transport links. But it's also the things you can't see so easily, the operations that just stop, supply chains that grind to a halt, employees who are scared to come to work, or maybe physically can't even get there. Put simply, business just stops.
Okay, so that's the first ripple, the initial shock. But that wave doesn't just disappear. It builds, and it transforms into the next ripple, rising costs. That initial physical disruption quickly starts showing up on the balance sheet as a whole new set of financial burdens.
This says it all, really. In the world of business, uncertainty isn't just a vague feeling of anxiety. Nope, it is a line item on a spreadsheet. It's an expense. Every potential threat, every unknown risk has to be accounted for. And that accounting costs cold, hard cash that hits the bottom line.
So how does this actually play out in the real world? Well, suddenly your budget has to stretch to cover way more security. We're talking surveillance, guards, beefing up your cybersecurity. Then your insurance company calls. They see the increased risk, and guess what? Your premiums just went through the roof. And on top of all that, governments often step in with new safety regulations, which means more compliance costs. All of it adds to the price of just keeping the doors open.
Now, the impact goes beyond just direct costs. There's a wider, more psychological ripple effect that we can call the confidence crisis. This is all about how fear changes the behavior of everyone in the economy, from the average consumer to the biggest investor. This breaks it down perfectly. It's like a tale of two fears happening at the same time. On one side, you have consumers. They get hesitant, they avoid crowded malls, they put off big purchases, they might shift to online shopping. On the other side, you've got investors. They get skittish, pulling their money out and looking for safer markets. That means less capital flowing in for new projects and expansion. You see, businesses get squeezed from both sides.
And this crisis of confidence doesn't just happen outside the company. It seeps right through the walls and affects a business's most critical asset, its people. Employee anxiety goes up, morale can just plummet, and good luck trying to attract top talent to work in a location that's seen as high risk. All of this leads to lower productivity and higher turnover.
Okay, let's zoom out even further. When you take all these individual impacts on businesses, on consumers, on employees, and you add them all up, they combine to create massive ripples that can be felt across the entire global economy.
And some sectors are right on the front line. They get hit much, much harder than others. Tourism is the obvious one. People just cancel trips. The airline industry gets a double whammy of higher security costs and nervous passengers. And really, any business that relies on people gathering in public, whether it's retail or entertainment, feels that chill almost immediately.
This kind of disruption also starts to clog the very arteries of global trade. Ports and borders tighten their security, leading to huge delays. Shipping routes might be seen as too dangerous. All of this friction just gums up the works, slowing down the movement of goods and making international trade less efficient and more expensive for everyone.
So, faced with all of these challenges, what are businesses supposed to do? Well, the focus has to shift. It's no longer enough to just react. It becomes about proactively building resilience right into the very fabric of the company.
And we're not talking about small tweaks here. These are fundamental, long-term strategic shifts. Companies are forced to completely rethink where they even operate.
Risk management goes from being a side desk issue to a core part of the boardroom conversation. And you see a huge push towards secure digital operations, which are just less vulnerable to physical disruptions.
And in the end, it all comes back to this one core truth. It doesn't matter how adaptive or innovative or resilient a business becomes. For true sustainable growth, you will always depend on a foundation of stability and security. That's the bedrock.
Which leaves us with a final, really thought-provoking question for today. In a world that seems to be getting more and more uncertain, has resilience become the new growth? Has the ability to simply withstand shocks become just as important, if not more so, than the traditional pursuit of expansion? It's definitely something every leader needs to be thinking about.